to a Whole Step Ahead podcast, where we look at the whole picture in childcare while keeping you a step ahead. My name is Alicia,
And I'm Monique.
and today we're talking about basically just kind of introducing ourselves to you, letting you know who we are and what our podcast is all about. Basically, our podcast is about childcare. It's about every perspective that we want to give to you, our audience, whether you're a provider, a parent, or a family friend, or just someone who wants to learn more about our children and how they are growing and developing.
Yeah, basically, it's just the whole aspect of child development, behaviors, different milestones for you to understand, so you can always be a step ahead.
Right.
So, I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm Monique. A little about me is I own it in home daycare. I've been doing it for about 2 years now. I've been in childcare for 19 years. I've worked with infants, preschool, and school age, so basically all ages. I haven't touched on teenagers. I'm learning that now. But other than that, I have my education is I have a bachelor's in early childhood administration, a master's in education with emphasis on curriculum and instruction, and currently getting my doctorate's degree in early childhood development. So hopefully by the year 2023, I will be Dr. Marshall instead of Miss Marshall.
Woo-hoo.
So now Alicia will give her background.
Yeah, so I'm Alicia. I've been in childcare formally for about like almost 10 years. Now that I think about it, yeah, about 10 years. um, and I really love it. I currently own a childcare facility, and we've been open since August, though I've been working on it for longer than that. But we just opened in August, and it is a childcare facility, a center that is in Columbia, South Carolina. But I also have been, I also have my associate's degree in early childhood education, and I'm pursuing my bachelor's degree in early childhood. Well, actually, I'm going to pursue my bachelor's degree in family and human development. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, with those two combined, I can do everything I can to try to make a difference in our families, not just each child's life, but also in the family's lives. Yes. So
okay.
That's what we're working on. That's what I'm working
on. Okay, so now we're just going to answer some questions just to give you guys a brief summary of like our personal experiences and why we have chosen child development, and why did we move on from working in centers to owning our own. Mm-hmm. So well, child development or child care to me is teaching kids at an early age, very young, starting at basically 6 weeks, we can accept kids, teaching them the basis of life, basically what you learn from infancy, toddlers, preschool, and then on to school age, you're going to take with you forever. From learning how to write with pencils, picking up Cheerios, it all combines into being able to do stuff when you're older. So that's what childcare is, just starting education early on so you can have the basic that you need when you're an adult. Why did I choose childcare? I was supposed to be a vet. That's what I really wanted. I loved animals. I was a child that brings home the stray animals home, and stray cats and dogs and stuff. But I really did have a knack for children. I was the one who did daycare in churches. I was the one who babysat.
I did too.
I had the stray kids come to me while we're at playgrounds and stuff like that. So I just had a knack for it, and my life just took a turn to where I just started working in childcare, and I was good at it. And, I just like to see when kids learn, and when whatever I teach them and they get it and they show me they got it. I just love that moment, like that aha moment of like, I actually got what you're teaching me. Mm-hmm. And just being able to know when they're an adult, I did something to that child to help them become that adult that they are. So that's why I chose childcare.
Yeah, for me, it's pretty much like the same things. I literally was the same. Growing up, I worked in a church nursery. I did children's church, so I was always, keeping some of the kids, babysitting, and like even I just always had a good rapport. Even as a child, you could say like a teenager, I was the younger children always like kind of gravitated towards me too, and so that was just like um, a natural ability. And then moving on in life, like this wasn't my first choice career path. Even though somebody told me it was like, you're gonna be a teacher one day, but I was like, no, I'm not. She was like, yeah, okay. But anyway,
and look at you now.
Right, exactly. But anyway, so she was just like, but so moving forward in life, like I wanted to be a journalist, and because I love writing and stuff, but that didn't quite pan out.
Oh goodness.
So I went to school. I wanted to be I literally wanted to be a religious editorial journalist. I went to school for religion. Then I left. Then I went back to school for religion again. Didn't work out again. It happened twice, girl. 2 different colleges. Three. I went to 3 different colleges.
For religion?
I swear, all my life I did.
Who picks religion? I'm sorry. Alicia, who picks religion journalist? Like, what are you writing about?
I wanted to tour the world and learn about other people's religions and cultures. That's what I wanted to do.
Okay. I didn't know that exists, but okay.
I feel like I made it up. I didn't know.
I don't think you did. That's good though.
Anyway, move forward. So then I got a job. And I got a job at a child care facility, and that really made me kind of reel it in and realize, like, okay, well, this is kind of I love doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I love working with the kids. I love, like you said, having those aha moments. I love to nurture, and I just like being able to help them lay that foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And so finally, I was like, okay, boom. This is what I want to do. So I went back to school and I got my associate's degree. And that's where I've been for here. For childcare, for me, is really about laying that foundation, laying that those small fundamental things that to most people they don't really think about. You just kind of do, or you don't do, and because you don't know to do it.
Yeah.
And making that difference in a child's life at that age, 2, 3, 4, even infants, at those young ages, really, like you said, it makes a difference for their future. And it really, if you really look at it, like children who do have those like really early learning experiences kind of do better, moving throughout life. So it's my passion. It's what I believe God has put me on this earth for, and that's what I'm doing. I'm going with it.
Yes.
I'm just going to move with
it. And as you said, like, starting at an infancy, the socialness that comes with being in early childhood and as a teacher and stuff, we keen on those social development, not just academics. Everybody's about, learning to read, write, all that stuff. But, we know about the physical, the social. That foundation is important, because if you ever went to school with somebody who was kind of socially awkward, I bet you they didn't have that foundation they needed in childcare to help with those kind of skills. Right. So
I agree, because like there are always the people that are really, really smart but cannot interact socially. And you've run into those people before, and it's not a bad thing, but it's just they just missed out
on that socialness or physical learning to write. I mean, you come into like kids and going to kindergarten who don't know how to hold a pencil, right? But if you ask them, they probably were at home up until kindergarten, and parents don't know, like, give your kid you're supposed to have even from eating with a spoon and fork and picking up stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we put into kids from infancy up until, kindergarten that to help them with skills when they do go to school age. So childcare, like, people think it's just watching kids, but there's really a lot more that goes into it that you don't think about unless you are a child care provider or you're a parent who feels like my kid should be doing this. Why aren't they doing this?
Yeah.
That's the reason of this podcast. Like, we can help in those situations. If you listen in on certain topics, you might learn that you need to be doing certain things with your kid at a certain age to help them develop and hit milestones. Now, every child is different, but there's certain milestones that each child should be at a certain age. Mm-hmm. So to bring it all in, that's what the podcast is about. As a caregiver, you can listen to and get some tips on how to run the center, your classroom. As parents, you get your tips on how to get your child to where you want them to be. Yeah. And then even if you don't have any kids and you just want to know about child development, this is the podcast this is what it's for.
Yeah, it really is. Like you said, sometimes parents, like if you're watching this podcast, you can learn things that you wouldn't necessarily have thought about, because you're just being a parent, and it's not a bad thing. You just don't know, and that's literally what we're here for. So if you got questions, you can submit your questions too.
Yes, we'll give you the contact information for topics. We will try to, we want you guys to tell us what you want to know, so it's not just us going off the dome, because we have a lot of information. We want to be the resources, but we also want to relate to our audience. And you might have a certain situation we haven't hit. If we come and we don't know, we will get resources, research, people who are experts in the field, so you guys can just be a step ahead and know how to child development as a whole. Gotta plug in our name. Go ahead with the next.
So I will talk about like kind of like how I chose my path, I guess, with entrepreneurship, and how I chose my path with just childcare in general. So I'm gonna give y'all a little story real quick. Okay. So, it's important. It's a very important story. So remember I had said before, is a person that told me I was gonna be a teacher one day. Okay, this person, I'm not gonna say her name. This person, she we went to a conference, a church conference, right? Random. And like in the hotel lobby, she was like, "You're gonna be a teacher one day." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, this is coming out of left field, like completely. And I was like, "Okay." And then eventually, I came home. I was in North Carolina studying school, and I came here. I told you I went to 3 colleges. Then I came here and did some school here, and didn't work out there. And then so I was just at home, kind of kicking it. I needed a job, right? So I called her because she is a principal of the school. Oh. And I was like, "Are you hiring?" She was like, "Well, we haven't opened up hiring yet, but go online." I was trying to think what I want to say because I don't want to give out too much. She was like, "Go online, apply on this website," and then I did, but not specifically for that job. Well, no, she let me know, go ahead and apply for that job, but it wasn't quite open yet. So the way this company, I would say, hires is you apply, you do the assessment, you get put on a referral list. Mm-hmm. The referral list, they'll call you and let you know if you made it to an interview and all that stuff. That's how it goes. Well, with her being a principal of school, she could just pull my name and interview me if she wanted to. But there were no available spaces. So I just went ahead and applied at a couple of other places on that same website under the same umbrella. And I ended up at my former job. And that's kind of how I got there. And it was literally divine purpose. I can't even explain, because I wasn't supposed to be there. That wasn't the job that I applied for. That wasn't, well, initially I did end up applying for that, but that wasn't where I went to that website for. I just kind of clicked on it and added my resume to that one, and the assessment already applied because it was similar job descriptions. So I ended up getting hired at that place, and granted, like, everything while I was there wasn't the best, but I learned so much. One thing about that job is they train you well. Mm-hmm. They train you very well. They give you a lot of information. They give you a lot of education. It's almost on the level of college level education and understanding child development. Mm-hmm. They do a good job with that. It was just the culture and the environment that wasn't conducive to my progress. Okay, and
say it again. Wasn't conducive.
And that's why I left. And that's why, so I stayed there for 7 years. And I worked and I trained and I worked and I learned and I did what I was supposed to do. But when that did not serve me anymore, I had to leave. And that's what put me on the track of entrepreneurship, because I needed to make a safe, healthy learning environment for my children that I wanted to serve and for myself. And that was really what put me on the track to entrepreneurship. I can't find what I want unless I create it. You know, it's not everywhere. You're not gonna find what you need. Sometimes it's not. It doesn't exist until you create it.
You create your own lane.
Yeah, and then so that's what I did. I came out, a leap of faith, resigned. That was a journey. I resigned right before COVID, and then COVID happened, so I couldn't open immediately. But anyway, moving forward, it was a 2-year journey before my door, almost 3-year journey before the doors actually opened. No, it was almost, actually it was exactly 2 years.
Yes, I think it was,
because it was 2019, 2021. Yeah. 2 years, August 2021, 2-year journey from when I first started planning my entrepreneurship journey. And I have learned so much. I've made a lot of mistakes. I have learned from those mistakes. I call them lessons. And I have really, really I want to use this opportunity as a business owner, as a Black female business owner, to try to encourage others, encourage other business owners, encourage other people, and to serve other people in our community, and give them the resources they need, or give them the example. If I'm just an example that they can use, I am more than grateful that I had that opportunity to do that. So that's pretty much my journey to entrepreneurship. What about yours, girl?
She said a lot.
I said a lot. I did.
Mine started off of, I can give some names of where I started off at KFC. And from KFC, I learned that I do not like people. I don't like people. I don't like taking orders from people. I don't like messing with people's food. I always say food, money, and kids you don't mess with those things. Yeah. So from there, I literally just asked a lady at my church, Miss Janet.
Hey, Miss Janet. Hope you watching.
For real. Listening. If she was hiring, because she worked at KinderCare, and she was like, yeah, she needs an assistant for her room. So I'm like, cool. So it was like me and my best friend. We worked there. I don't know, how did Nicole end up with me? For some reason, me and my best friend ended up working together in Miss Janet's room, which was like, we was the best room, but we was the room. Right. And then actually, randomly, my brother-in-law started working with us too. So we had all basically friends, working at KinderCare, and he worked in the school age room, but it was like one big room. And it was split in half. So me and Nicole worked on the preschool room, and then Kevin worked on the school age room. And it was fun. That's all I'm gonna say. We had fun. So after KinderCare, I actually somebody at my church was taking over the daycare at my church, and he asked if, I'm trying to make sure I get the wording right. Yeah, I think he asked if I wanted to come work for him, and I did. So I worked at the church daycare. I ran the toddler room there. And then the director of that daycare actually left. And when she left, I was the next person qualified. I was going to school for child development to get my associates at the time. So I think I had to get a waiver because I didn't have my associates, but if you were working on it, you get a waiver. So actually, I was about 23 years old, being a director over a church daycare. I did that for...
That's good, girl.
I was trying. I did that for like a year, I think. And then some stuff happened, life happened or whatever. So I stopped. And I ended up working on Fort Lewis. Yeah, Fort Lewis. And that's where I probably learned the most. Like she said, some centers are good with trainings and, making sure you stay up to date on your trainings, from CPR, from just doing what they call modules, where you just have to do learning about learning about your job.
Guidance, growth, development.
Yeah, and and being observed and stuff like that. So I actually learned a lot from there, which made me want to do more in the industry. Just working with the kids and the structure and how they were taught, it just made me like, okay, I like doing this. And from there, I moved on to other centers, other types of. I've done private schools. I've done a lot of schools. I've worked at a lot of centers, so I've learned a lot of different types of ways of teaching. Mm-hmm. And so actually, me and Alicia actually worked at the same place. And so you just, after a while, I feel like, and I don't know if it's the same for her, like when you go to school for something and then you work in the industry and you can see, okay, they do it this way, I want to do it this way. And even when you try to do it at the place and they're against a lot of it, it kind of just puts you in this position where you feel like you cannot grow.
Yeah, restrict.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I felt like I couldn't grow. I had a master's degree at the time, and I just felt like I wasn't putting it to use. My master's in curriculum instruction. So, of course, certain places have different curriculums that they use, and I just felt like there's a time where we have to progress with kids because every kid is different. We're using the same thing from 2000s, even the 2000s, 1990s. And now we're going into, 2003. We're still using the same stuff. Like, it's not effective. These kids nowadays are different.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because literally when you're doing a module and they ask you about a floppy disk, they like, listen. We're not up to date.
When the modules are still on paper.
We're not
and we're just now getting them
on the computer.
Like, seriously.
That's a red flag, y'all.
So it was basically, and I'm telling you, these kids are different. They're different with the technology, with how they do stuff. There's a lot of difference, and I felt like I wasn't able to be fully used to my potential because they were keeping me stuck. And there's nothing wrong with this company. Like, no, it works. Yeah. But what I wanted to do wasn't it. And I would apply for positions to be, management, to be trainers. And I just kept getting, no. So I'm like, you know what? If I work for myself and, I just had a baby, he was not even a year old. And I'm like, I want to teach him how I want to teach him. I want him to learn how I feel like he should learn in this new day and age, basically. So I had my baby in May. By that, December 31st, 2019? 2019, yeah. It was my last day. So January 1st was my first day of entrepreneurship. I was preparing myself for my in-home daycare while I was working. So I was doing the steps to take it. So January 1st, I was kind of ready to open. I just had to do my inspections. I did my inspections. By that June, I was open, but like in 2020, we're all going to know COVID hit. But, I want to say thank God, even during COVID, I was open. I had my kids. I never was didn't have a full house. Right. So even with COVID, I feel like God was leading me on that path, because I could have closed and then I had to go back, be miserable. But I was able to keep it steady. And I remember the day I quit. And I'm probably going to tell this story all the time because it's so funny. The assistant director was like, "Oh, bye, Miss Marsha, good luck." And she's like, "You'll come back. They always come back." And I told her, I said, if I come back, it's to either be take your job or I'm going to be your boss. And everybody in the room was like, oh my God. But I meant it. If I ever go back, I'm not going to be no teacher. I'm going to either be up there or, it's gonna be more than what I was because we ain't doing that. So that's
if I ever go.
That's if I ever
coordinator. That's it. That's
all. Listen. Listen. We're gonna be coordinated together.
Okay, co-coordinator.
For real. That's the only thing. You gonna pay me what I'm worth too.
Okay,
but that's if because we might even start our own.
We got a whole thing going, child. We got a whole thing on the move.
For real.
So we won't need to go back.
So that's basically it.
Like out here, child. We ain't got to work today. Pause, y'all. Okay. Sorry about that. Well, whatever.
So now we can kind of wrap it up, and we'll give you guys where you can find us at. Hopefully, you can continue listening. We'll give you the email address where you can email your topics. And so my in-home daycare is called A Step Ahead Learning Center. You can find me at A Step Ahead on IG, A Step Ahead on Facebook, and then my personal IG is Give Me Some Mo on IG, and Monique MED at on Facebook. So if you guys want to find me, you guys can reach out there to give us topics or whatever. Alicia will give you hers and the email address.
I was looking, making sure I had the right email address. Yeah, so you can find us, W.H.O.L.E Child Development Center, on Facebook, and at W.H.O.L.E CDC on Instagram. And if you want to submit some questions, topics, or just anything that you want to hear us talk about or touch on, you can submit that to a.whole. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. a.wholeway@gmail.com. Wholeway. So a.whole, W.H.O.L.E, way, W-A-Y, @gmail.com. And we'll be glad to hear anything and everything that you want to talk about or want to know.
Yes.
Or
hit us up.
Yeah.
We'll be doing them once a month so far.
Yeah.
We'll try to progress to more.
Yeah.
But please listen, share, subscribe, whatever, the things they be saying. Just do that.
Yeah. It'll be on some platforms. We'll know which ones yet, but they'll be there. We'll let you know. We'll put everything in the description box. Did you plug the Are we doing this? The whole A Whole Step Away podcast on Facebook? Did you say that? No. Okay. You can also follow us on A Whole Step Ahead podcast on Facebook. Yes. You look at me like, what? Like, you about to do this? Sorry. Yes, you can find the podcast on Facebook, A Whole Step Ahead podcast. Yes. And also on that Facebook, you'll find resources. We'll be putting resources and just, information, parenting again, and childcare, and even entrepreneurships, anything. Yeah. We'll try to, we just want it to relate to everything that you guys can, child development wise and personalized. If you are wanting to take a step and you just need questions on how to do it, we're here. So thanks for listening. Thank you.